So the Democrats have found another scandal to hang on Donald Trump. Who could have seen that coming? Sometimes I think the Democrats don't even know what the word scandal really means. Fast and Furious was the name of an operation that happened during the Obama administration. It allowed guns, mostly AK-47s, to be sold to people who would then sell them to the Mexican drug cartels. They didn't have tracking devices in them, but we were told that it was to track sellers and purchasers. It didn't work out that way. Guns would just end up at crime scenes, like the ones that were used in the killing of Border Patrol agent Brian Terry. Then Obama's Attorney General was held in contempt for not turning over documents about the operation to Congress. But that wasn't a scandal. Not for the mainstream media. But when an anonymous person says that they heard President Trump say something offensive in private 2 years ago, and there's an election around the corner, now that's a scandal. Obama good, Trump bad. Sometimes they get confused. They reported on kids in cages being a scandal of epic proportions for Trump. But to prove their case, they had to use pictures taken during Obama's tenure. You see, kids in cages was not a scandal while Obama was president. It only became a scandal when Democrats and their media saw the political value in attacking Trump for it. And that's what's happening with the story in The Atlantic that claims Trump disparaged dead soldiers in 2018 during a trip to France. Democrats know that Trump has the majority of the military supporting him, so they needed a story that would turn the military against him. We could say that Trump called fallen soldiers suckers and losers. That ought to do it. But it won't work, because soldiers know better than anyone how Trump feels about them. Trump fought to raise the wages for our troops. He changed the rules of engagement so we could defeat ISIS, which actually did make them seem like a JV team. He's forced other countries to do their part and to pay their fair share. And our wounded veterans are doing significantly better under this administration. Trump has expanded a veteran's ability to get treatment at places other than the VA. My dad is a disabled vet. As a kid, I remember us having to drive an hour and a half to get to the VA. And of course, while you were there, it took forever. But now we're supposed to believe that Trump hates our veterans and the people who've paid the ultimate price for this country. Of course, no one will go on record to say that they heard him disrespect our fallen soldiers. And John Bolton, Trump's former national security advisor, someone who dislikes Trump and wrote a book about it, went on record to dispute what The Atlantic reported.
I didn't hear either of those comments or anything even resembling them. I was there at the point in time that morning when it was decided that he would not go to An Marne Cemetery. He decided not to do it because of John Kelly's recommendation. It was entirely a weather-related decision, and I thought the proper thing to do.
Now, off the top of my head, I can name several scandals that happened while Joe Biden was vice president that the mainstream media tried to downplay. Benghazi, Uranium One, the IRS targeting opposing political organizations, Clinton's private email server, the Obamacare website costing over $1 billion, and veterans dying while on waiting lists for the VA. The media has downplayed these scandals so hard that Obama and Biden have felt confident in saying that their administration was scandal-free. But it gets worse. Trump's two biggest scandals are actually scandals for the previous administration. Russian interference in our 2016 election happened on Obama's watch. And Joe Biden actually admitted to a quid pro quo in Ukraine, something Trump was impeached for.
I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. I said, you're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was, 6 hours? I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
Just imagine if people in Obama's inner circle tried to hurt him politically by disclosing private conversations or making them up out of thin air. When Obama was a senator in 2005, the Congressional Black Caucus met with the biggest anti-Semite in America, or anti-termite as he calls himself, and there is a photo that proves it took place. That's Barack Obama grinning from ear to ear with Louis Farrakhan, someone who's repeatedly called Jews satanic and has compared them to termites. That was kept secret until after Obama's second term was over. Imagine that there was a picture of Trump and David Duke together. Now try to imagine the press keeping that under wraps for 12 years. If a person like white nationalist Richard Spencer said he supports Trump, the press would act as if Trump asked for his endorsement. But Richard Spencer is supporting Joe Biden this election, so nobody in the mainstream media will even mention it. He won't be asked to condemn Spencer over and over again, like Trump had to condemn him after Charlottesville. And Biden won't be called a racist because one of his supporters is an admitted racist. Now, everyone who wants to believe that Trump made these comments about soldiers points out that Trump disparaged John McCain, and that's true. But let's not forget that McCain was attacking Trump. That's what Trump does. He punches back. Trump's a reactive person. Somehow I doubt the fallen soldiers from World War I attacked Trump from beyond the grave. As usual, these attacks on Trump come from the swamp through the media. And the reason they attack Trump over things he said or supposedly said is because he's got a record to run on that they have a very hard time attacking. Oh, sure, they try sometimes, but it never sticks, because not only have his policies been effective, they haven't been extreme. The crazed authoritarian Hitler that they said he would be never showed up. But there's always the pandemic. They will attack Trump on how he's handled the COVID-19 situation. They'll say he hasn't listened to the experts.
The first and only time that Dr. Birx and I went in and formally made a recommendation to the president to actually have a, quote, shutdown in the sense of not really shutdown, but to really have strong mitigation. We discussed it. Obviously, there would be concern by some that, in fact, that might have some negative consequences. Nonetheless, the president listened to the recommendation and went to the mitigation. The next second time that I went with Dr. Birx into the president and said, 15 days are not enough. We need to go 30 days. Obviously, there were people who had a problem with that because of the potential secondary effects. Nonetheless, at that time, the president went with the health recommendations.
So that's just another lie. Dr. Fauci says Trump has listened to him. It's actually the Democrats that are not listening to the experts.
Can people safely go out and vote in person, given that this year there is so much concern around the vote?
I think if carefully done according to the guidelines, there's no reason that I can see why that not be the case.
Democrats want everyone to vote by mail, even though Dr. Fauci says we can safely vote in person. Democrats don't care about science or what the experts say unless it helps them win. They only care about winning. That's why they lie, that's why they falsely accuse, and that's why they make up stories like the one in The Atlantic. Actions speak louder than words, and Trump's actions show that he cares about our military. And Obama's actions got more of our young men and women killed in Afghanistan in 2 years than were killed in the previous 8 years. Biden and the Democrats don't care about our brave men and women in the armed forces, except as a last-minute voting bloc. The Obama administration helped fund the terrorist state of Iran with $1.8 billion, money we knew they would use to target Americans. And Trump? Well, he killed their most infamous terrorist leader. So are we to believe a story with no sources in a left-wing magazine, or our own lying eyes? Trump has been the most pro-military president in more than 30 years. And that's the simple truth. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and if you want to become a supporting member of Blue Collar Logic, click on the link in the description and give what you can.